There we go. Welcome to yoga, everybody. Welcome to Hatha Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. For today's practice, please have the usual optional props like a couple of yoga blocks and a strap. Let's begin sitting down. So, have you ever caught yourself thinking or saying out loud while you're enjoying a delicious meal, this is just wonderful, but I wish there was just a little more so and so? Or having just a wonderful day, whether to yourself, with someone, and you're outside just enjoying the sunshine and you make an exclamation, "This is just fantastic, but if only it were a little warmer or a little cooler or a little bit of this." Well, I wanted to talk today about mind traps, and it's an actual concept that we've studied in our yoga psychology training. And there's a workbook called Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction by Bob Stahl and Alicia Goldstein. And they talk about these 7 mind traps, which are common mental patterns, negative feedback loops, or ruts that exacerbate stress and pain that cause ourselves suffering. And when we can practice the second limb of yoga, svadhyaya, if you'll remember, that's self-study, being aware of our mental talk. And we can catch when we're on the verge of maybe going into some kind of mind trap like this. Over the next few days, we'll highlight each of those different mind traps. So this one is actually called emphasizing the negative and discounting the positive. And the effects of this negative feedback loop is anxiety, and even over time of habitually coming into this negative feedback, depressed moods. It can cultivate a lens of critical judgment and just get in the way of feeling at peace with what's here now. So how can we counteract not only just being aware of the seed of this kind of habit starts to creep up, but how can we be proactive about it? Well, in today's meditation, I'm going to invite you into a gratitude meditation. And as the more that we cultivate a sincere state of gratitude, the more we can let that be our predominant habit of mind. As remember that the definition of yoga in the Yoga Sutras is to calm the fluctuations of the mind. And those fluctuations include patterns that we can be aware of. So let's find a comfortable seat. You might even like to move the flesh aside from your sitting bones. Take a moment to rock your weight throughout the pelvis, front, back, left and right sides. And maybe even roll out your shoulders, roll out your hands. Perhaps gently roll out your skull. Feel into the various joints of your body that help to align and create space. And as you root downward into what you're sitting on, allow your spine to lift more easily as you let the shoulders soften back and down. Tuning in with yourself. What have you brought into your practice today in your mind, body, and spirit? And how might we become aware if that certain habit of "this is wonderful, but" may start to arise, and perhaps replace it with "this is wonderful and so and so." Cultivating gratitude in this practice. Let's join the palms together at the heart. And opening space, I invite you to join me in 3 chants of Om. Take a deep breath. Om. filling up your lungs. Feel the four walls of your rib cage gently expand as you lift your sternum. Exhaling deeply, allow your belly to soften inward towards your spine, still sitting tall and relaxed. Beginning to cultivate full breaths where you're expanding your belly and your lungs, and perhaps even imagine expanding your whole torso, front, back, left and right sides, from pelvic floor to neck. Complete exhalations, and now if you can, closing your lips so that you're just breathing through your nose, both in and out. Lengthening the breath in and out evenly. We're going to start a breath practice or pranayama called Bhastrika, or bellows breath. So you can imagine that your belly and lungs are like a bellow, filling up with air and then completely releasing the air rhythmically like this. So this breath work helps to cleanse the lungs, enliven your body energetically, and clear the mind. There's a physical practice that goes along with it in which you bend your elbows apart, fist your hands. Then as you inhale, you raise your arms straight up, spread your fingers. And as you exhale, you rebend your elbows and refist your hands, sort of like this. So for this practice of Bhastrika Pranayama, I'm going to set the timer for 1 minute. Let's prepare to begin. And go. You may like to close your eyes and direct your inner gaze at the center of your forehead as you steady your attention on a consistent rhythm of your breath. Mouth closed. Full breaths in, full breaths out. Last 15 seconds. And relax. Take a moment to pause and just observe the effects of that breath practice. And now to set the tone for our movements, let's move into Ujjayi Pranayama. A calm, sustained breath in and out through the nose, while softly narrowing the back of your throat to engage your attention on a very faint, smooth, and balanced whispering sound created by your breath. Feeling the inhale expand all of your torso, front and back, left and right, up and down. And the exhale, completely releasing. Listening to that whisper. Softly open your eyes. And I'm going to invite you to come into Go Mukasana here, extending your left leg forward as I'm mirroring you. And taking your right thigh to cross over your left thigh. Now, if you find as your back may start to round, go ahead and elevate your pelvis on a folded blanket, pillow, whatever you have. And then here, if available, also bend your left knee underneath so that you can splay your feet a little wider apart. If that tilts you off balance, just keep the bottom leg straight and the foot flexed. And then plant your hands alongside your outer hips. Take a deep inhale, roll your shoulder head slightly back and down, lifting through the center of your spine. Exhale, begin to hinge from your hips just a little bit, placing your hands in front of your legs on the floor. Now pause as you breathe in, plug your two sitting bones down, and lengthen the front and the back of your spine. Exhaling, see if you can fold a little bit more, while firming your belly inward towards your back. Let's continue on like this for 3 more breaths. So physically, this posture may help to open up your outer hips, your glutes, your lower back. Noticing what you're feeling here, not only physically. What might you feel a sense of gratitude about here in this time and space? Walking your hands towards you, lifting your chest. Inhale, slowly rise. And let's extend the legs forward to switch. Now crossing your left thigh over the right, either keep the bottom leg straight and the foot flexed, or bend the bottom knee too. Perhaps splay the feet a little wider apart. Grounding your two sitting bones, hands alongside your hips. Breathe in, sit up a little taller with your shoulders relaxed. Breathe out, extend your sternum forward, keeping your throat open. Pause as you inhale, hands in front of you. Grounding your pelvis, elongating your spine. Exhale, maybe fold a little more. Let your belly be active here. It's pressing towards the back of your body as your shoulders are releasing down your back. One more deep, balanced breath. And on your next inhalation, begin to lift your chest, slowly rising. This time, let's swing the knees behind you, coming down to all fours, your hands and knees. Set your knees a couple inches behind your hips and your wrists, right under your shoulders, spinning out your hands to stretch the inner sides of your wrists and forearms. So whatever degree, fingertips facing left and right edges of your mat, maybe towards your knees. And let's take a few cat-cows here. As you inhale, glide your chest through your upper arms, rolling your shoulders back, lift your sternum and gaze. As you exhale, draw in your belly, tucking the tailbone under, slowly drop your skull to round your back. Let's keep going. Inhale, chest forward, then coiling up. Exhale, contract your abdomen and dome your back. And at your own pace, another 3 to 5 cycles of Halasana, cat-cow. And on your next exhalation, let's sink into child's pose for a moment. Bring the inner edges of your feet to touch, knees together or wide apart. Rest your forehead down and extending your arms forward. Really reach your fingertips beyond you. And at the same time, rotate the outer sides of your upper arms, which are your triceps, downward towards the mat, as if you're trying to flip your palms face up. But let's keep the palms face down here. And let that rotation originate at your shoulder sockets. Then plug your shoulder bones back, even deeper into your shoulder sockets as you lengthen the crown of your head forward. Draw your sitting bones further back and down towards your heels, widening across your lower back. Know that any time that you may need to pause to rest, you can come back to this position, Balasana or child's pose, or any other posture that feels restful for you as you tailor your own practice to what you need today. Let's walk the hands over to the right now, coming into more lateral extension of the spine. Keep reaching both hands forward and then perhaps outside of the right edge of your mat. Keep drawing your left hip back towards your left heel. And allow your breath to lengthen the left side of your waist. Walking your hands through center onto your mat. Switch sides. You might be able to walk your hands outside of the left edge of your mat. And as you send your right hip towards your right heel, breathe into your right side body. Walking your hands back to center. Rock onto hands and knees one more time. Parallel your shins. Spread your fingers wide onto the ground so index fingers are now parallel as they face forward. Root the base of your thumb and index fingers. Rotate your outer upper arms towards the rear of your mat and the floor. Tucking your toes, bend your knees generously as you lift your hips as high as you can and as far away from your hands as you can, trying to create the most length at the front and back of your spine. Downward facing dog. Feel free to take a few breaths to shift around in your own way if you like. You might pedal your feet in place, warming up the backs of your legs. With that, you might add swiveling your hips left and right, lengthening more into your side body and outer hips. Perhaps giving your head a gentle movement, completely relaxing your neck. Keep your hands stably grounded as you lift your shoulder blades onto your back ribs. Now steady your eyes on the ground towards your feet. And notice that you're not able to see the inner edges of your heels because your feet are parallel. Knees can be as bent as needed here as you firm the belly in. And on your next inhale, glide forward into plank pose, top of a push-up. We're going to pause for a few breaths. Stack your shoulders right on top of your wrists. Optional to lower onto your knees here, or to keep firming your inner heels back with legs straight. Feel the lift of your belly towards your back as you gaze at the floor, about 1 foot ahead of your hands. Now as you exhale, shift forward and only bend the elbows back maybe 2 inches, not even Chaturanga Dandasana, maybe halfway towards Chaturanga. Inhale, press up through plank. Exhale, glide back to downward facing dog. So it's like baby push-ups, half of a push-up. Let's try that twice more. So we're using this to warm up the serratus anterior. Part of our shoulder stability relies on that. As you inhale, come forward into plank pose, shoulders right over wrists. Keep the belly lifted, gaze forward. As you exhale, shift forward, point your elbows back, just another 2 inches perhaps, half of halfway down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, hips back, downward dog. One more to the breath. Inhale, forward, plank pose. Exhale, glide forward, point the elbows back, 2 inches. Inhale, press up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. And as you exhale, rotate the thigh open as you bend the knee towards your right wall or the sky. Staying here, breathe in and draw your left hip further back. And as you exhale, rounding to plank, bend your right knee towards your nose. Feel the contraction of your abdomen. Use that to softly land the foot inside of your right hand, either lowering your back knee to the ground or keeping it lifted so you're on the ball of your left foot. You decide, just make sure that your neck has space, your shoulders are relaxed. Hands can be on blocks or the floor, framing your front ankle. So in your lunge, take a deep breath. Allow your pelvis to sink, perhaps a little closer to the ground. Keep your right heel where it is. Lift the ball of your right foot, flexing the toes, and scissor your right outer hip back to whatever degree. Straighten your right leg and fold. Taking that another 4 rounds of breath. Inhale, rebend your front knee. Exhale, straighten and fold. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten and fold. So if your back knee is on the floor, it stays on the floor through both of these postures. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten and fold. Now inhale, bend. Lower your back knee, untuck the toes. Press your hands onto the very top of your right thigh near your hip crease and really press down. See that your front knee is right on top of the heel, toes and knee facing forward. And can you draw your right outer hip slightly back? Let the left outer hip rotate slightly forward as you lift your frontal hip bones. Getting a little taller through the spine as you relax the shoulders down. And then perhaps you let the tailbone sink a little lower, sliding the right heel another centimeter or inch or more forward. Still lifting the frontal hip bones, still rolling the shoulders back and down. Another 2 breaths. Giving our left hip flexor some love here. And then as you plant your hands on the floor, step back to plank pose. This time, like a push-up, exhale, glide forward into Chaturanga. Bend your elbows towards your side ribs. Pause, only halfway down. Breathe in here. Lift through the navel. Exhale, press up to plank, then downward facing dog. Re-steadying your breath. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. And as you exhale, rotate the thigh open at the hip, bending your knee towards your left wall or the sky. Breathe in, tack your right outer hip back. Exhale, round into plank, bending your left knee towards your nose. Lift your navel to very quietly land your left foot forward inside of your left hand in a lunge. So whether you choose to lower your back knee or keep it lifted, hands on blocks or the floor, take a deep breath. Allow your pelvis to sink. Exhale, scissor your left hip back, lifting the ball of your left foot as you flex it. Bow in, straighten the leg. Again, inhale, bend your front knee. Exhale, straighten and fold. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. Last round, breathe in. And breathe out. As you rebend your front knee, lower your back knee, untuck the toes. Plant your hands on the very top of your left thigh near the hip crease. Make sure your front knee is right on top of the heel, knee and toes facing forward. Send your right outer hip slightly forward, left hip back. And then really use your hands to press the very top of your femur down to create a sense of stability that you can lift the spine from. Allow your frontal hip bones to rise. Shoulders move back and down. Deep breaths as you steady your eyes. Perhaps you explore sliding your left heel a centimeter, an inch or more forward while directing the tailbone down and forward. Another 2 deep breaths. Then plant your hands, stepping into plank pose, this time into a full vinyasa, finally. Inhale in your plank, keep the belly lifted, gaze forward. Exhale, glide forward through Chaturanga Dandasana, elbows hugging your ribs. All the way down, point your toes, inhale, cobra. Drop your shoulder blades, open your chest. Tuck your toes, firm your belly, exhale, press through your plank. Lift your hips back, downward facing dog. Bending your knees, look just past your hands. After exhaling, hold your breath, lift your pelvic floor while you walk or lightly jump to the top of your mat. With feet apart, hips distance and parallel. Bend your knees at least a little bit here and rock your weight forward towards the fronts of your heels. Fingertips pressing your shins or the ground ahead. Inhale, lift your chest through your upper arms, gaze forward. Exhale, bow in, rooting down through your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms. Let your palms meet overhead as you gaze up. This gesture of gratitude, trace it down your midline, through your heart center, arms landing in mountain pose. Let's take 2 sun salutation A's. Inhale, sweep your arms. Exhale, bow in. Press the ground to your legs. Inhale, lift your heart, look forward. Step into plank or lightly float into chaturanga. Exhaling to lower. Inhale into cobra or upward facing dog. Hollow your belly as you exhale to downward facing dog. Pausing there, direct your eyes on one spot. Let your body be still. What's working here? What feels bright, open, or strong? With bent knees, look forward. On emptied breath, walk or float. Inhale, raise your heart, lengthen your spine. Exhale, bow in. Rooting into the earth. Inhale, rise, expand. Palms meet in a gesture of gratitude. Tracing your midline, exhale. One more time. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Either step to plank to lower or float into chaturanga, taking it all the way through your own version of your vinyasa. Remember, you could substitute it with cat-cow pose anytime. And as you arrive in downward dog, inhale, raise your right leg. Exhale, turn out your right thigh at the hip. Flex your right foot and cross your right ankle just in front of your left thigh, above the kneecap, like a figure four shape. Root evenly through both palms, lift both shoulders and hips back. And feel your belly alive here, engaging as you sink your chest towards your left shin. Allowing another 2 breaths as we splay open your right thigh bone at the hip and draw both sitting bones back. Take another inhale. Exhale again. Or this time, tap your right knee outside your right upper arm and step your right foot directly between your hands for Warrior Two. Spin your left heel down, cartwheel your arms as you breathe in, landing right in the posture with eyes steadied just past your right hand for a few breaths. Feel your right sitting bone wrap underneath your body as you bend your front knee just on top of the heel, facing forward. Feel the outside edge of your left foot root into the floor, straightening your left leg. Pelvic bowl, neutral, upright. Open heart space. One more breath. As you exhale, straighten your right leg for triangle. Glide your hips towards the rear of your mat. Reach your right hand forward and down onto your right leg or just to the right of it. Raising your left arm. Spiral your chest slightly to face the sky as you direct your eyes on one spot. Feel your breath, expansive, just like the energy of this pose. Allow your exhales to reground you. Feel the strength of your legs here. What positive thing can you highlight in your experience right now? And perhaps add something to that. And look down at your right foot. Exhale into plank, chaturanga if you'd like to flow through a vinyasa, or substitute it with cat-cow. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Once in Adho Mukha Svanasana, inhale, raise your left leg. And as you exhale, turn out your thigh at the hip, bending the knee open. Cross your left ankle just above your right knee on the front of your right thigh. Make sure that you're flexing your left foot. Breathing here. Root through your fingers spread. Rebound the lift of your shoulders and hips back. Belly firming in. Feel your left thigh splay open. One more inhale. As you exhale, open the left knee to tap your left outer upper arm or elbow in plank. Then softly land the foot directly between your hands, spinning the back heel down, aligning heel to arch. Cartwheel your arms as you breathe in, landing in Virabhadrasana 2. Steadying your gaze, your drishti. Steadying your breath. Left outer hip wraps under. Top of your right thigh firms back towards your left wall. Tall and spacious spine. With rooted energy in your legs, inhale, straighten your left leg. Exhale, glide your hips towards the rear of your mat, reaching left hand forward and down onto your left leg, or just to the left of the leg as you raise your right arm in Trikonasana. Again, land your eyes on one spot as you spiral your chest open towards the sky. Can you breathe a sense of light-heartedness across your chest and even across your upper back? Bring that same tone in the breath, traveling up and down your spine, tailbone towards right heel, crown of your head towards front wall. Inhale, look in front of your left toes. Exhale, plant your hands at the top of your mat and step your right foot to meet the left. Forward fold. Inhale, bend your knees together, sink back towards your heels and chair. Exhale, join your hands to meet your heart and begin to twist to your right, revolve chair pose. Each inhale, maybe sinking the hips a little lower. Firm your outer hips towards your midline and lengthen your spine forward. Now you might hook your left elbow outside of your right thigh, whether you keep your hands in prayer or open your arms wide. And then again, let your eyes land on one spot for these last 3 breaths. Sending left sitting bone towards the rear of your mat. Feel your 2 knees in one line. Chest wide open. On your next inhale, sink a little lower in the hips. Raise your arms forward, then up. Start to lower onto your pelvis on the floor. Catching the backs of your thighs or keeping your arms free in boat pose Navasana. Knees can stay bent or legs straight. Imagine with this next breath, you could lift and restack each vertebra of your spine. Let the shoulders relaxed, inhale. Exhale, 4. Inhale, feeling your own inner strength. Exhale, 3. That purification of discipline, tapas, inhale. Exhale, 2. One more breath, strengthened willpower. And exhale, set your feet on the ground, splay your knees apart, and catch your big toes or outer feet. Inhale, plug your sitting bones into the earth and lift to your crown. Exhale, begin to fold from your hips. Taking a few breaths here. You may want to walk your hands forward. Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. On your next in-breath, float your heart up and slowly rise. With your hands, close your knees together And take a few breaths to begin rocking and rolling forward and back, forward and back. Maybe you bring the legs overhead as though coming into plow. Maybe you set the feet on the floor head as though coming into a squat. The next time you rock forward, let's meet in chair pose. Inner edges of feet touching, knees touching, sitting back towards your heels. And then join your hands at your heart. Take a deep breath in. To your left, exhale, begin to twist. Inhale, rebalance your hips and lengthen your spine. Exhale, continue to twist. Now, optional to hook your right elbow outside your left thigh, whether arms are open or hands are together. Think of tacking your right hip back, keeping the alignment of your hips squared. Last 2 breaths in Parita, Utkatasana. Sitting a little lower, inhale, unwind your arms. And this time, exhale, rise all the way up to stand. Shifting your weight onto your right foot. Bend your knees, turn out your left leg, and wrap your left thigh over the right in eagle pose. Now, as you keep both hips facing forward, you can either flex your left foot here or tuck the toes behind your right calf. Hips squared, sit a little lower, bend your elbows apart, then cross your right elbow over the left. Either give yourself a tight hug, hook your thumbs, or wrap your forearms and palms, sending your shoulders down. And perhaps lifting your elbows to the height of your shoulders as you press the forearms away from your face. Steady gaze. Let's take a few more breaths. In Garudasana. We're going to transition into Warrior 3, extending the left leg behind you, creating a horizontal line with your body. You may want to keep your arms like this, or bring your hands together in prayer in front of your chest, or reach for the ground for added support. Begin to unravel your left leg straight behind you with the toes facing down, flexing the foot as you bow your spine forward. Sending your left outer hip to face the floor, tack your right outer hip back. Lifting the navel, draw your heart forward. So whatever variation of your arms, let's take a few more breaths. Eyes looking at the floor ahead. In Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3. Bending your right knee, softly land the left foot all the way back into Warrior 1, so that your feet are hips width apart, both hips are facing forward, back heel to the earth. And then here, bring your arms behind you to interlace your fingers, or grab a trapped hold between your hands. Take a moment as you're bending your front knee right on top of the ankle to scissor your right outer hip back. And as you're straightening your left leg and pressing the outer heel into the floor, to rotate your left outer hip forward. Then with an in-breath, roll your shoulders back, look up towards the sky. Either stay here or exhale, begin to bow, either on top of your right thigh or to the inside of it, in humble or devotional warrior. So whatever variation you choose, continue to direct your 2 hips to face forward evenly and feel the even grounding of both feet. If you're bowing, let your head just fall, relax your neck, draw your shoulders up away from your neck, and reach your arms forward, away from your lower back. Pressing through your feet, inhale, slowly rise up. And keep your right knee bent. Think of lifting your pelvic floor in this transition of slowly stepping left foot forward into chair pose. Both feet at the top of your mat touching. And once there, join your hands at your heart, turn out your right leg at the hip. Wrap your right thigh over the left, flexing the foot, or tucking the toes behind your left calf, in which you'll probably need to scissor your right hip further back. Now see if you can sit a little lower, bend your elbows apart. Cross your left elbow over the right, hug yourself, hook your thumbs, or wrap your forearms and palms. Melt your shoulders down. Soft, steady gaze for a few more breaths in Eagle Pose, Garudasana. Now, as we transition into Warrior 3, you can keep your arms just like this, or join your hands in prayer instead, or reach for the ground or blocks in front of your left foot. Begin to unravel your right leg behind you, flexing the foot as you turn your right outer hip to face the ground. Spine lengthens forward horizontally. Drawing left outer hip back, feel the balance of your two hips as you lift the belly towards your back. Virabhadrasana 3. Now taking your time to step into Warrior 1, bend your left knee. Softly step your right foot all the way back, landing your feet hips width apart, two hips facing forward. And then backstroke your arms. Switch the interlacing of your thumb and index finger on top, or grab a strap. As you're bending your front knee right on top of the heel, scissor your left outer hip back. And as you're pressing your right outer heel into the floor, straighten your right leg and spiral the outer hip forward. Let's take a deep breath and broaden your heart space up. Stay here or exhale, begin to bow into humble or devotional warrior. Resting your torso on your front thigh or on the inside of it, keep squaring your hips. And so again, if you're bowing, let your head release. Allow this posture to loosen your neck as you lift your shoulders away from it. To open the front of your shoulders as you reach your arms forward. Then firming down through your feet, inhale, slowly rise back to Warrior 1. Perhaps the palms touch overhead. Exhale, plant your hands to the ground, stepping onto hands and knees, all fours. Inhale, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest in cow pose, look up. Exhale, contract your belly to round in cat pose. Then relax to a neutral spine as we prepare for your choice of an active inversion, whether dolphin pose or Shirshasana headstand. Same setup to start. Knees on the ground, extend your arms forward and wrap your triceps towards the floor like we've been doing for plank pose and downward dog. And then bend your elbows to land on the floor exactly your shoulders width apart. Now interlace your fingers and press the outside of your wrist firmly into the floor to help lift out of your shoulder joints rather than collapsing into your shoulder joints. So notice the difference. I don't know if you can see here. Here's collapsing, my shoulder blades squeezed together. Here is rooting down to rise. Chest is open. Then draw your shoulders back away from your neck. Now if you're in dolphin, this is all you do with your head, and then you tuck your toes to lift your hips. If you're going into headstand, place the crown of your head to the floor and let the back of your skull be lightly supported by your inner palms. Again, you're rooting down to lift the shoulders and maintain space in your neck. Then tucking your toes. If you're moving into Shirshasana, you might start with one leg up and then switch, or both legs up, creating a vertical line as your feet come together and flex. So whatever inversion, dolphin, one leg lifted dolphin and then switch, or Shirshasana. Let's take at least 5 more breaths before lowering into child's pose. And when you decide coming back to child's pose, choose any variation of it. You'd have your arms wrapped outside of your shins if you like, maybe turning the head to one side for a few breaths, and then to the other side to stretch your neck. Then place your hands alongside your knees. Inhale, roll your spine upright to sit. Slide your legs in front of you for a seated twist. Extending your right leg forward, step your left foot either right in front of your left hip or crossed outside of your right knee, in which you might also bend your right knee. Backstroke your left hand and behind your pelvis and raise your right arm up. Press into the ground even with the sole of your left foot. Lift through your spine. With an exhale, rotate your chest to the left. Hold the shin with your right hand or hook your elbow outside of that thigh and continue to lift by rooting down with each inhale and to twist with each exhale. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, unwind your spine, uncross your legs. Bend your right knee, either set the foot in front of the hip or outside of your left knee. Might also bend your left knee. Backstroke your right hand just behind your pelvis. Raise your left arm, take a deep inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, rotate your chest to the right. Hold your shin or hook your elbow outside. And keep going, breath by breath, into your twist. Deep inhale, exhale, unwind. And let's extend your left leg forward. Bring the sole of your right foot high up on your inner left thigh for Janu Shirshasana. Now, open up the angle if you can. So that's in between your thighs so that it's more than a right angle, more than 90 degrees. So right now I'm facing the inside of my thighs. I'm not facing my left leg to start. And then from here, and it might mean your heel is more towards your pelvis rather than the inner thigh. And then raise your 2 arms, plug your sitting bones down, and use that to rebound a lift up to your spine. Shoulders down. And now exhale, rotate your chest to your left. Reach your hands to frame your left leg. Pause as you inhale, plug both sitting bones down, lift your spine, and then exhale, continue rotating your chest to the left side of your left shin. And then start to walk your hands forward. Whether they're walking on the floor or they're catching your ankle or your calf or your foot. So this is a Parita Janu Shirshasana, revolved head to knee pose. Drawing your shoulders down your back. 2 last breaths. Inhale, lift your chest slowly, rising all the way up. And now let's switch right leg forward, straight, flex the right foot, Open your left thigh so that the angle between your thighs is wider than 90 degrees. So the heel might be right in front of your pelvis rather than your inner right thigh. Raise your arms, plug the sitting bones, breathe in, lift up. Exhale, twist to your right, then begin to bow, framing your right leg with your hands. Pause here, press down to your pelvis and lengthen to your crown. Exhale, twist, turning your chest to face outside of your right leg, and then if you can, walk your hands forward, deepening the twist, the fold. Parita Janu Shirshasana. Next, in breath, slowly lift your chest and rise. All right, let's come on down with 2 blocks. We're going to set up for a moment in restorative heart opening posture, placing your blocks like an equal sign on their medium height. That's the second level across your mat. So that one block is going to be a pillow for your skull, and the second block that's closer to you is where you'll land the area that's right underneath your shoulder blade tips. Keeping your pelvis on the floor. Lie back. Make sure that the back of your head, not the back of your neck, is on the further block. And that your shoulders are symmetrically releasing downward towards the floor and away from your neck. You're observing the natural curve and length of your neck. And then from here, bend your knees. Step your feet apart on the ground, wider than your hips distance. Drop your knees together to touch. So this variation of the legs helps to softly open the lower back across the sacrum. And turning your palms to face up, down by your sides, you can help release the shoulders that way. Or if you'd like to feel a little more lengthening along the sides of your torso instead, you could raise your arms overhead and catch hold of opposite bent elbows. Then release the arms back as you do that. We'll be here for about a minute. I'll let you know when we're halfway through the minute so that you can switch the hold of your elbows if you're doing that variation. Deep inhale into your belly, fill up all of your torso, let all 4 walls of your ribcage expand. Long exhale to your mouth, any sound if you like. To continue on, deep belly breaths, diaphragmatic breathing, and longer exhalations to your mouth. So if you're holding your elbows, you may want to switch the cross of the elbow on top. And if you want a little more lift in the chest, a little more sensation to open the shoulders, you could tilt the block under your skull to its lowest height so that it's even lower than the block that's under your ribcage. About 3 more breaths. And from here, gently turn to your right side, rolling off of the blocks, lying on your side on the floor. Move the blocks off of your mat. Take one in your hand so that you can set up here, lying on your back again with knees bent, feet on the floor. Lift your pelvis and slide that 1 block across your sacrum. Or you could stack 2 blocks if you want a little more lift, and then extend your legs straight up. Now you could stay right here. This is a variation of shoulder stand. If you'd like to lift your pelvis all the way to stack above your shoulders, bring your arms really close to your side ribs, plug your elbows into the floor, and use your hands to help lift your hips and lower back. So remember, if you are taking this variation of shoulder stand to protect your neck, tilt your chin back away from your chest to open your throat. Avoid turning your head side to side. Keep your neck still. And make sure that you're not flattening the back of your neck on the floor. You're maintaining its natural curve, and the weight is on your shoulders, your skull, your upper arms and elbows. From Salamba Sarvangasana, the vertical variation of shoulder stand, you might move into Halasana, cloud pose, legs overhead. In that, you might interlace the fingers if that's possible, arms straight forward. Now let's begin to lower the body to the floor. Hands on the lower back, slowly lowering your spine, or step your feet down and remove the block from under. Then once you've come all the way down to the earth, either choose fish pose or happy baby pose, bending your knees apart and grounding your tailbone. If fish, extend your legs forward on the ground, bring your feet together but relaxed, and slip your palms face down under your glutes so that your thumbs touch. Press your elbows and forearms into the floor as you tilt your chin back. Lifting your chest, opening your throat, you might bring the top of your head to the floor. If in fish, take at least 3 more deep exhalations through your mouth before lowering. Cleansing lion's breath is an option, in which you stick out your tongue, open your mouth and eyes wide, and cross the eyes as you exhale. Then begin to lower your body into corpse pose. Perhaps you place a pillow under the backs of your knees for added lower back support, or place a blanket over your body, maybe something over your eyes. Feel symmetry in the left and right sides of your body as you let your feet splay apart and rest your shoulders. Closing your eyes, perhaps take one more breath. Imagine full body inhale, filling up from head to toe. Linger at the top of your in-breath for a few seconds. And then very slowly through your mouth, let it all go. And from there, release control of your breath. For a few minutes here in stillness. If you'd like to join me for seated meditation, our last 5 minutes together, please begin to move your body gently out of Shavasana. You might like to keep your eyes closed so that you're still holding this attention internally. Taking your time, you might turn over to one side and lift your body into a comfortable seat. Allow a moment to check in with your posture and how it facilitates natural, calm breathing and alert mind. You may like to join your thumbs and index fingers with palms turned up on your lap, or stack the palms, let the thumbs touch. Whether eyes closed or open, gently steadying your gaze on one spot. Find what works for you as we begin this meditation. I invite you to begin by asking yourself, what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? Allow any thoughts, images, experiences to arise. What am I grateful for? As one blessing comes to mind, and let it ripple into another. And if you're finding it challenging to start that list or keep it going, what's here right now that's working for you? In what ways are you abundant right now? And for this final minute in our meditation, let go of having to conjure up anything that you might be grateful for, and just sit in that vibration of gratitude, that feeling tone of gratitude. deep breath. Feel that open heart space. Join your palms there, exhaling. As you bow in to that wise teacher within you. Thank you for sharing your practice. Let's close with one chant of Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.